I like this. All right, here we go. Wasted all that time. Wasted about 9 minutes bitching and complaining about people complaining about video games being too easy. It makes me angry. That make me mad necessarily, but I do find it like incredibly infuriating that people just can't live. Just live. Goddamn. But more importantly, you were yelling at people's kids and they were getting tired of it. So finish your story.
Dang it!
Would you just put a bunch of...
I literally have one bite. Like, you've been talking and I've been booking it. I got one bite left. I did not read that. So I got this quesadilla from this like little Mexican
place.
taco stand restaurant type deal where
Boy, if
I always confuse the crap out of them because I guess 99% of their clientele is Mexican and they speak Spanish. So when I go to the voice box, they come on and they're like, "Hola," and like I fully understand what she's saying, but I'm so self-conscious about my Spanish that I just order in English, and then she'll just be like, "Okay."
What? What?
And so I order again, and she goes,
Because I was done.
And then she'll go and get somebody else. And then that person will come on and they speak Spanish too. And I try and order and they're like, wait. And then they finally go and get the third person who speaks English.
But I clearly wasn't having any trouble understanding anything y'all were saying.
Nope, not at all. But I'm reading the thing because I got a steak quesadilla, and it says meat is the steak.
Gotta love them translations. Yeah, sure. I'm going
all right.
First.
So yeah, I'm yelling at people's kids. I'm yelling at the cameraman too because he's autistic, which makes him pretty much a kid.
Is he actually autistic?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. Is he like? He's not just on the spectrum. He's in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because he is massively socially awkward.
Aren't we all?
He has one thing that he loves.
And that's booty.
And it's cameras.
Ah.
And his camera knowledge is insane.
Ridiculous.
But he's not a professional cameraman. He's a freaking truck driver.
Man, that was the problem. What the shit?
Like,
it's really problematic.
Playing with cameras, like working with cameras, is his hobby.
It's his hobby and job. Well, it's his hobby. But
No, it's his hobby. His job is truck driving. He also does not have. He doesn't have a standing. He doesn't have a standing home. He literally lives in his truck.
Who let this man out? Like, I always wonder that. Like, so you, bro, I don't know if you remember, but you remember the house. There was a yellow back on 14th Street where we lived. There was a yellow house. There was a yellow house beside the house next to ours, like to the left. I'm sorry, to the right. Well, there was because it's just for buying stuff. Man, I don't really. I hoard my money and stuff. until I really have to use it. You know there was a. Did you know? Did you know about the dude who walked around town who collected cans in the coat all the time?
Oh yeah, Joe died.
Yeah, Joe died. Damn, you already knew. Okay, so he was living in that house by himself.
Joe was? Really?
Yeah, at least that's what we was told. And I cannot fathom, because he was mentally retarded. If anybody's like, oh, you're not supposed to say that, suck my sack, bitch. What a motherfucking, oh shit, people. Like, he was mentally retarded. He wasn't mentally handicapped. He wasn't on the job site one day and he got a fucking piece of rebar stuck in his goddamn brain. No, he was out of the womb slow. He was mentally handicapped. He was retarded. He was a retarded man from retard land.
Yeah, my grandma had to yell at him multiple times because he would steal my grandpa's cans.
So the
She'd
problem.
chase him away.
What is that for? Hey, Enrique. Hey, Tremaine. Could not pick it up. What's that mean? Damn, I thought I gave y'all the damn. I was. I gave. Somebody knows the. No, nobody knows the code. You can ask me. You can ask me later. When I'm clearly not. I'm not playing this. I'm recording this. I'm recording this. When y'all see me with this headphone, these headset on, yeah, I'm usually recording, almost exclusively. I don't even play the game no more if I ain't recording it. But when I'm not playing the game, that's a good time to come ask me. Yikes! What up, rude? Alright, yeah, so yelling at these people's kids. Now, somebody who's had to raise other people's kids or at least help, it happens.
But we were basically on track, and we had gotten to the point where we only had one scene left to shoot, so we were going to be very ahead of schedule. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to be able to be there to finish it off because I had to leave at 2:30. But they should have been able to finish and piece that out like relatively soon after I left. So it was about 2:20, and my mom calls me, and she's like, "When are you coming?" And I'm like, I'm getting ready to leave now." And she was like, "Okay," because they got me so behind. They showed up late.
Who is that?
And I'm like, her boyfriend and his nephew.
Well,
and I'm like, what?
They went on a schedule.
And she was like, yeah, they. So I said, like, y'all aren't done? And she's like, no, we're just now finishing putting the stuff on the truck. And they went to Dollar General or Dollar Tree to get a wrench or some pliers to get the washing machine off. And I was just like, oh no.
Who is cooking?
Because, again, the plan was that they would move everything and then just leave the washer and dryer on the truck for me to handle all that stuff by myself. But they hadn't moved everything. So, on the way back, I called her back and I was like, hold on, you just tell them, like, y'all just go and unload the truck, and I will worry about getting the washer and the dryer unhooked. Like, I'll just do it myself. So I had to come home, grab the wire strippers, and then go down there. They've gone to unload the truck, and I set about getting the washer and dryer out, which I managed to do because I had somewhat.
Outfit.
the proper tools.
The cutscenes don't reflect it, though. Obviously.
So I'm wobbling the dryer down the hall and through the living room, and I decided, okay, just to make this easier, I'm gonna move him to the porch. And so I get the door open, and I'm like the dryer out, and all out of nowhere, I just hear this masculine voice go, "You got it, you got it." And he's like, "Hold up," and he comes and he just starts freaking like helping me move the dryer, and he helped me get it onto the porch. Yes.
Yeah, that's about right.
And so he was like, "It's a black dude."
Okay.
And so he was like, "Yeah, you got it. You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's it." And he's like, "Where are you taking it to?" I was like, "I'm just taking it right here. We just putting it right here." He's like, "All right." And I was just like, "Thank you." And he was like, "That's all right. Take it easy." And he walked on up the stairs. So
the other one,
I felt bad because it seemed like he had to come and rescue me with the dryer, and I was just like, "Nah, I actually had it. Like, you didn't have to."
I appreciate the effort, though.
Yeah. So I after the dryer, then I wiggled the washer on out the door and onto the porch. And then I sat and waited for an hour.
Nice. ain't nothing better than having somebody else waste your time.
Yeah. So while I'm sitting, I was texting the producer and I was like, "How's everything going on set?" And he was like, "It's all right." I talked to them and they decided that we're just going to push through and film as much as possible until we run out of sunlight. And I was just like, huh? So that's what they did. Meanwhile, I just sat and waited. They got back because I called again to see like where they were, and she was like, "We're still just getting the stuff out the truck." And so at one point around 4:30, I just went onto the porch and I was just standing out there. And the guy that had helped me just happened to be pulling up in a truck. And I noticed that he had on one of those shirts that connotated that he was a working man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I went and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, do you work maintenance?" And he goes, "I am maintenance." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." So I started to ask him, and I was telling him, like, so when I was unhooking the washer, the hammer slipped and it knocked the whole valve off. And he just looked at me and he was like, "What?" And I was like, oh, not here. I live somewhere else. And he was like, "Oh, okay. It's a different complex." That's okay. So I was asking him like what I could do to possibly get the piece that connected out. I was like, "Dude, if I had some needle nose pliers or something like that." And he was like, "Well, I don't know what it looks like." We're like, "Hold on, I got the knob in the car." So I went and grabbed it and I showed it to him, and he was like, yeah, needle nose could work, or you could get a longer screw and try and get that in there to like grab hold of it, and then you'd be able to turn it on. And so I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And at this point, my mom pulled up, and the two dudes with the truck. And from that point on, I was on my own. I had the washer and dryer on the porch, and they legitimately did not help. They showed up, went inside, got a bottle of water, and pieced staff out.
Because they were parched.
They just left. So I strapped the washer and dryer to the dolly, pull it into the truck. It was around 4 o'clock that I realized, because my mom was really, really on about this freaking time. She really wanted to get the truck back by 5 so she wouldn't get charged. And she was like, it was like 4:45, because I had told her that we were just going to give my cousin her dryer, because I personally also didn't feel like making the double trip, because I only got 3 hours of sleep. So I get the washer and dryer on the truck. We go to my cousin's. Then I have to drag the dryer up a flight of stairs. I get it in. Then we have to come down to my apartment. The ramp on the truck came down at an angle, and that angle was right at the railing for a couple of steps. But there was also like a little hill. And so I was like, well, I don't want to pull this dolly down the steps, so I'm going to try and angle the ramp so I can just roll it on down the hill.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't long enough to go over the steps, so I could only reach the hill. The issue was that the truck was at such an angle that when I was wheeling off, the wheel of the dolly was perfectly on the rail of the steps. So I basically, I almost had to just tip the thing off of the ramp just to get it onto the hill so I could roll it down. And then I got it inside to the laundry room, and then I strapped the old one on the dolly, and I took that one to the dumpster.
I don't know how this will come off, but the people who, he's a better person than me, because I would have just been like, look, I'm doing all the extra work. I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I'm doing a lot of the everything. So here's what's going to happen. If you want the dryer, find a way to get the dryer. Because outside of that, I'm not going out of my way to get you something. Like, I'm just not. Like, because all of what you just talked about sounded like some of the worst of everything I've ever experienced. It sounded so terrible. And I couldn't necessarily figure out, why were you the one doing all this extra work?
Yeah, that's just how it always ends up.
Yeah, would have had to put the
And I mean,
on that.
and that's not even like an exaggeration, but it's literally just how it always ends up. So I followed. Well, we went and dropped the truck off, and then I took my mom back home. And from there, I went to Home Depot to get a big screw. And after I finished in the water closet, then I went to the screw section. And I found a screw that was longer than the one that went in the thing. So then I was in the plumbing section, and I was trying to find the part that would fit, and I couldn't. And so I went to the customer service, and I was like, "Hey, I got a question about this." And he was like, "Oh, is that a nozzle?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, you can probably get some help in plumbing." And I was like, "I was in plumbing." And he's like, "All right, let me call somebody." And so he goes to call somebody, and then he goes, "Oh, wait, I remember. They said we weren't going to have somebody from plumbing."
You son of a bitch. You knew that when you said this shit. You motherfucker.
So I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So I went back to the tool section, and I bought myself a set of screwdrivers, bought myself a set of pliers that also doubled as wire strippers. Bought myself a thing that magnetizes tools and demagnetizes them, and I also bought some magnets because magnets are cool. Yeah, I realized that Home Depot is one of those stores that I couldn't spend an extended amount of time in because I just buy a bunch of useless stuff. Oh, I didn't mention the amount of blisters that I got from taking off the pipe from the thing, and then while I was moving them all next day, ripped one of them open, and it hadn't even had time to like fully blist. Because the deal with a blister is like when it pops is cool because most likely the skin has healed underneath it. Well, this one was not even 24 hours old, and so it was literally just raw finger meat.
Yeah, new skin, yeah.
My thumb is actually still kind of numb where the blister was. Like I have no feeling there.
No,
I don't know if that's going to go away or not.
That's for the best, actually.
Uh-huh.
We done?
So,
is it the end of the story?
No.
All right, well, shit. Part 4 in the next episode, because I gotta go to the bathroom and I can't do it here in the bed. So if you thought it was over, some white kids is gonna get beat, some production assistants is gonna get cussed out, and somebody gonna spill some ramen. Until next time, y'all. Golly, this is a fucking nightmare.